Hey, this is Jan. Welcome to SketchaLona episode 8. It's a Saturday and I'm making the rounds here in Barcelona because I'm looking for a brand new comic book. I'm also looking for some new art supplies. I'm already fully caffeinated. I think we're off to a good start. 6 months ago, I made the move from London, England to Barcelona, Spain. I quit my job. I left everything behind, and now I have all the time in the world to draw to my heart's content. So let's check up on what I've been doing this week. Well, sometimes you just find yourself in a deep internet hole looking for particular kinds of music and ending up somewhere in the 70s listening to Little Feat with Emmylou Harris, and you've got your sketchbook in your lap and off you go. What is there to do but draw beautiful women? While the leaves are falling outside and it's starting to rain, I found my comic after checking out the store for about an hour and heavily debating between it's something very, very European, but I don't know what to get, and it felt like that time I wanted to try out classical music, so I walked into the classical department and there's so much choice. I'm sure it's all great. So I found my way back to some superhero Marvel stuff, and I couldn't decide whether I was going to get some classic John Byrne Dark Phoenix saga, which I love, and I'd love to really dig into John Byrne's art and just really have a good look at it, but then I've already read it and it's €40, or Age of Apocalypse. So Age of Apocalypse it is, because I haven't read that one. It's classic 90s comics. I really want to have a look at some more Quesada and Scott Lobdell, and there's some other artists on there that I know the names, but I've not really checked them out, so I guess this is it. Other supplies, there's lots of Black Friday discounts, so I thought I'd get I'd have a look at the tech department. Seriously distracted by all the things I can't afford. So I finally got myself a backup hard drive so I can back up my Mac and do a clean install, because it's been a couple of years. There's the new operating system that's out. I want to put it on, but my old flatmate Javi pointed out that it's time for a clean install. He's an IT guy, so he's going to help me out. It's not hard. I know how to do it, but it's a bit of a hassle with all the programs and the passwords and whatnot. So that's happening soon. And then, of course, heaven forbid I misplace my passwords and I can't get back into Photoshop. So we'll see about that. And what else? Bought some nubs for PlayStation controller because they're falling off. Haven't been able to find much more time for Batman because, of course, I've been drawing. I've been drawing a ton. Let me show you some of my art as I make my way to the art supply store, because the last one I went to was heavily focused on paint, and I really need some proper sketchbooks because they had all canvases. So I'm trying to get a big size sketchbook. And in other news, my sketchbook is almost full. So let me show you my sketchbook too while I'm at it. See you in a bit. Sometimes I get a little bored from just drawing faces and I want to venture out a little bit further afield. And so one of the things I've been trying out this week is copying a comic book panel. So let's have a look at them side by side. I'm still trying to figure out how to do textures, so some of them I copied outright, like these ones here. Still went a little overboard, but I think that looks pretty cool. I quite like how this part came out, but then I'm not fond of how the characters came out. Like, I don't think this is different enough, like it kind of bleeds into one another. Yeah, lots of stuff to learn. This is also all about paint. Made it. So, what have we got? Little discount on a hard drive. My sketchbook, I have got this much left. Because now that I'm talking Dutch all day long at my job, most of my entertainment is in English. I still have a Spanish flatmate, but I don't see her all the time, so my Spanish is just kind of ground to a standstill, so it's time to kind of pick up. I've been downloading Spanish subtitles for movies I've got on my hard drive already. And I've got the odd, it's in the living room, comic book in Spanish, and I bought this new one. I actually thought this was X-Force at first because it says Patrulla X, but I guess that's X-Men in Spanish. So yeah, I'm totally going to read this. This is, let's have a quick look. This is The Age of Apocalypse. The Age of Apocalypse. I remember some of these comics. I stopped buying most X titles by then, in the 90s, but this is very 90s. And yeah, this one on the Dark Phoenix Saga, which I'd already read. I just love that it's so freaking thick, man. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, it's all pretty. Manzana. Drawing in perspective, it's €3, nice and cheap. I'm sure there's something. I'm sure there's some very nice basics that won't hurt for me to go over. Pens constantly running out. I need to find a way to mark them so it's easier. These are the 3 different ones, white ink, so I can try out some effects. I think I bought this one before, and it was good for about 2 days. Started running out, so I'm hoping these last a little longer. Opa. It's time to go big. I need some proper boards. I really wanna, I bought this one, I haven't used it yet. I really wanna use this brush with the paint, the black paint, the ink, just to see what kind of effects come out, just to have fun, try out different textures, you know. So I need bigger paper. Also, I don't have A4, I don't have enough of those, so I need to buy those as well. But this is really just to kind of, you know, this will just come in handy. Let me show you what's been happening inside my sketchbook this week. Every day I try to draw at work. This week I've had a few people sitting next to me pretty much doing my job while I was listening into their conversations to help train them, help them find their way through the various programs we use to help people on the phone, people who are in Belgium. What the hell did I just walk into? Well, why not? You know, it's Thanksgiving in the US. Apparently we've imported Black Friday here in Spain. Might as well get started on the Christmas market. I can't keep track of all these holidays, man. This is insane. It's fun, but it's insane. So yeah, what was I? The rate at which I'm working, thanks to my trainees, has been growing pretty fast. I am now up to 8 pages a day. Pretty awesome. Most of these are on my Instagram, where you can check them out. I'm Yanimal there as well, if you've never seen them. And I'm very busy trying not to knock anyone out. And in the meantime, when I come back home, I like to try out some new techniques. I've been messing around a lot more with SketchUp, and I've been trying to kind of feel my way around inking 3D, so on top of it. Because I've been doing so much traditional work, I find I'm a little rusty in Photoshop. And by rusty, I mean like I'm just kind of like I'm doing things differently rather than the way I've been doing them with my ink pens, my Staedtlers, and my brushes. So I'm just trying to ramp that up as well. So there's easily a good couple of hours this week where I've just been trying stuff out. Just nothing. How should I put it? Yeah, I'm just trying on top, you know, just to see what comes out. And some of it looks okay, not all of it. But I guess if I just ramp up the hours, just put in more time, something decent is bound to show up. Now, anyone up for some glue wine? Don't mind the cat. This guy right here. Just felt the urge to draw, pick this one. I was really actually more interested in how this one was drawn. This art is by Andy Kubert. Lots of these. Okay, that's fine. I really like the layout. I think some of the art could be a little cooler because he's clearly capable of it. And like some of it is a bit, you know? So yeah. But that being said, totally digging into this book. Just a few more pages to go. Hey everyone, it's a Sunday morning, and while dropping a bunch of stuff, coffee makes me jittery or not. It's a Sunday morning. I've started doing what I do every day, whether it's at work or at home, which is just start drawing faces, start drawing them from different angles and whatnot. And today I started, because it's Sunday and I'm not at work, and so I have a little bit more time. I'm like, okay, let's find some pictures by Travis Charest, Arthur Adams, and Eric Larson, and just kind of copy them and get the feel for the lines and see how they use textures. And I'm already finding that, especially with Travis Charest, he tends to hold back and he uses a lot of high contrast, like heavy shadows, which I really like, but I don't come across this very often in my studies, and I don't think of applying it in that way, but it's very cool. And I think it saves a lot of time rendering, obviously, because you just black, done. So the lady in question is actually, I didn't do a very good job copying. I was just really looking at, like, just kind of feeling my way around, so I wasn't too worried about making it look pretty and whatnot. His is definitely prettier. So I really find it interesting how, because I tend to especially in pencil, I tend to draw all the outlines, and then I feel very beholden to putting them in inks as well, some way or other, because I tend to, you know, overdo it when it comes to rendering. But he really holds back, and in the colored images of his art, this tends to be picked up on by the colorist anyway. So it's actually the colorist that fills in the art more, and so he seems to rely a lot on that. And then that makes me wonder whether or not he supplies the colorist with his drawings, or that there's more texture in there that we can't even see for them to pick up on. Because I get the feel with some of his more heavily rendered stuff that he definitely gets to have a say on the light and shadow that is not outright black and white inks, because it's clearly in his style. So I wonder how they get that across actually. But yeah, let's get rid of these lines and let's draw on Eric Larson and Mary Jane Watson, because I did look for Supergirl, but I don't think he's drawn her. Only Superman is coming up. So I'll just go along with this one. Another thing I find quite interesting copying them is like the line order, like the workflow, if you will. Let me just continue in the meantime. The workflow. So, you know, I lay in my thick pencils, then I tend to pick up my thin pencil to add in the fine detail. I tend to not erase, because for a long time, one of my exercises was to just directly draw in marker. So, you know, whatever's on the page is on the page, and it adds to the fun of looking at it over and over again for myself. You know, like how did I do it? What did I do? All that stuff. So when I go over, like when I copy them like this and I go over them, I work in reverse. So I tend to work in the very thin, like 0.1 or 0.5. And I go at it from that angle and then thicken lines up, like once they're in there. The nice way of drawing this way, the nice thing about drawing this way is that when I early on feel like I've ruined something by having put down a bad line, you can really divert the attention away afterwards by upping the contrast, because contrast really seems to just direct your attention away. Once I go in with the really thick stuff, something I don't like about my art right now is that it really looks like, you know, I went at it with a marker, and so I've been trying to cover up the use of marker. Like it should really just to be, you know, to like large black areas, just to save myself on time. This hair is tricky. But then I always get a little carried away and try and just draw with it as well, just a little bit, and so I end up with these thick lines, which is why I'm very excited about applying these later on, like these new white pencils. But yes, in the meantime, actually, I'll just have a little go now. Ooh. In the meantime, this is fun. In the meantime, what I was trying to say was, so I'm trying to kind of feel out the workflow of making art because in the past week or so, I've been allowing myself to get carried away. So I come home from work and it's like, okay, so I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to watch this movie, I want to do, like, I've got a whole wish list of things that I want to do, but it's always like, okay, let's put in the art first. Let's put in an hour or half an hour, or let's do a little sketch up and see what I can make in there and then draw on top. And I always find myself obsessing then and getting so engrossed in what I'm doing that I then spend 3 hours doing it and not doing anything else, which is fine because of where I'm at right now in my life. I have that time. I don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna have fun with this whiteout stuff. It's not super white, but it'll do the trick with a little after it's scanned in, once I have a scanner. Okay, that should be enough. Okay, maybe not overdoing it, see what I mean? Put it away. So the thing with getting carried away is that kind of has to come to a stop, because I've come to the point now that I'm doing my SketchUp, like trying to rebuild a scene that I've drawn in 3D, rotating it that way to see what comes up. And I'm trying to ink on top of 3D to see how that looks and to get a feel for, inking digitally stuff that isn't my own, but it's just really hard lines, to make them seem more organic and like traditional. That takes time. There's the usual art studies, like here today, drawing from the masters, but also drawing my own characters. I want to have like 3 full renders of each characters. And this week I've drawn Chord, the ball guy. And but only in my sketchbook. I haven't done the full renders because I constantly get so stuck every night at home that I'm working on my art. And so today I reinstituted the use of a stopwatch, and just breaking my day up in like 10 minutes for this, or half an hour for that, or a whole hour for this, and that's it. It has to be done because I want to. Now that I've got the big sketchbook down here with the big papers, I really want to get the feel of whole comic book pages. So I want to start laying out a rough version of my comic book, Phosphor. I want to copy some comic book pages and get a feel for how they lay them out on a big page using the tools I now have available. Only $6.99. Like, there's just so much I want to do. Like, there's so many little exercises I want to get through the whole week, every day, that I need to break up my days because I know I can do it. If there's one thing the 100 Days of Comics taught me is that there's more than enough time in a day. If you have half an hour a day, you might be surprised by the end of the month what that adds up to. But I kind of have to reacquaint myself with that mindset of just like half an hour, half an hour, half an hour. Because now that I easily have 3 to 4 hours available to me each day when I'm not socializing, obviously, there's a lot I can get done. So let's get started. Well, that was completely uncalled for. Um, so a fun thing happened this week. I got a message from a colleague from a year ago who picked up drawing, and so he's been sending me some sketches, and like I've been talking him through like some of the exercises I do, and like he's really like for months he's been at it, and like it's looking pretty good for someone who's just getting started drawing. And then so we've just been corresponding like almost every day, just sending pictures back and forth, which is really fun. um, and the other thing that happened was all of a sudden through Instagram, I got a message from California Project, which is like some comic book project. And these people are kind of inviting me to join them. It's like, just like making comics for fun. And so I'm kind of curious, like what it is exactly that they'd like me to do besides make art, obviously, because I'm a little bit like, as I've just been talking, like I'm so busy with my own stuff. I don't know if I could actually take on anything extraneous, even though it would be a lot of fun. Yeah, there's that. So yeah, let's see next week what this week brings. I'll keep you guys posted. So until then, have a good one.